Okay, let's move to Representative Places Bill 5323, Vice Chair Fogarty.
Thank you, Chair. Okay. Thank you, Chair. House Bill 5323 by Representative Price is an act relating to property, form and effect and conveyance, and allows the towns of Burrillville and Gloucester to publish notices in any newspaper located within their municipalities. The act would also allow the publication in the designated platform selected by their cities or town councils. Representative Place.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Municipal Government and Housing Committee. Very simple bill. Right now, as everybody knows, every municipality, if they need to make public notices, they have to go ahead and take out a big ad in the newspaper. In the case of Burrillville and Gloucester, the Call is the most quote-unquote widely circulated paper within the area, and it's not. It's not circulated. It doesn't meet the requirement. The intent of the law is to notify the residents that things are going on inside the community. And right now, the newspapers just don't cut it because no one reads them anymore. And all this is doing is allowing a cost-effective way for the municipalities to say use a Facebook ad, boost a post or something like that off their Facebook page, and guarantee a certain number of people within their community would get it based on how much they pay for the ad itself. And so what this is trying to do is actually live up to the intent of the law and the spirit of the law, which is to notify the residents of a community when the town has stuff to publish. And right now, doing it in traditional newspapers, it just doesn't work.
Are there any questions for Representative Place? Yes, Representative.
Thank you. Representative Place, this says that it would be published in a platform which may be reasonably demonstrated to reach a larger portion of the population. How would that demonstration take place?
Well, the newspapers track what their circulation is within a particular area code, everything like that. On Facebook, quite frankly, you can do targeted ads within a geographical area, and you can say, I want to target 10,000 people within this geographical circle or these area codes. So example, Burrillville has 5 different area codes, and you can literally type in those 5 area codes and make sure a certain number of the residents that are on, say, Facebook as the example, would actually see the ad and would actually see the notice pop up in front of them. I'm not as familiar with, say, Twitter. Twitter has a similar function. It's not as widely used, I guess, for general public. I mean, Twitter's more of a, the politicos kind of play on Twitter, whereas the common people kind of play on Facebook. So Facebook would be the example I would use. And again, you can see and actually, you get billed to say that you reach so many people with your ad. And I know my understanding is the cost for an ad in, say, a Call or the Journal is much more expensive than, say, the $25 to $30 you'd need to reach the amount of people you're looking for when you're doing one of these public notices.
So I've heard from the municipalities that I represent that these advertising budgets are a burden for them as well.
Yep.
However, we need to make sure that government activities are as widely broadcast as possible. So this would put it in the town council's, it would be the town council's job to determine which of the outlets they're going to use to make the
Correct.
announcement.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That
Thank
helps
you.
clarify. Thanks.
And I guess you could say I have a companion to this, which is all municipalities, but the Providence Journal didn't quite like that one very much last time around, and I'm pretty sure they've probably got something on this one too.
I imagine so, yes.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, if I may, Representative, I'm not behind the times, but I can imagine, and I do understand why these types of laws came about, so that you don't become inclusive.
I didn't hear you, Chairman, I'm sorry.
You don't become inclusive to your community, in that any information that you may have in your community may not get to my community, that, hey, your community means something to me also.
The majority of the notices that are dealt with in the law, again, based on my understanding, the conversation I've had with my clerks, are community specific,
Okay.
based on, say, ordinance changes budgets and things like that. It is for the residents of that community. That is the intent of this legislation. That's my understanding.
Okay.
And again, I may have the wrong understanding of the law, but my understanding is the intent is for community-specific. Again, in some towns that still have financial town meetings to publish the notice. Same thing with our fire districts. Our fire districts also have to go ahead and publish their information and things like that in similar articles.
And I say this because employment can be community-specific also.
Yeah, and I don't, based on the way the law, I'm writing this, it's not, that's the intent, it's not intended to impact this. Again, my understanding of the law as it's currently written, the statute, it doesn't deal with employment, it deals with notices specifically, so, again, zoning changes, ordinance changes, budget notices, and things of that nature, not necessarily requests for proposals and things of that nature. I could be wrong, but the intent is not to impact requests for proposals and employment information.
Intentions are sometimes misread.
Well, and I get it, but that's why we have the hearings, that's why I get to come up here and talk to you
No,
guys.
thank you. Thank you. I'm just,
But again, if the lawyers read through the legislation and see that there's the concern, and we can address your concern somehow, and it's there, I'm wide open to that, because again, the intent is for the community-specific things that you just don't need to go spend $120, $100 whatever dollars it is on an ad inside some of these circulated newspapers.
understand. Thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes, absolutely.
Quickly, are there any concerns about access to devices and to internet service? If folks don't have it, then they can't see these ads. Is that?
It's based on, I don't have scientific evidence, but based on to be perfectly frank, my personal polling that I've done within the community during elections and campaigns and stuff like that, the call is almost non-existent. So you go from 2% to 50% of your population. And I understand that, that there may be a small percentage, that 1% that does get that paper, they may not be on, but if the intent of the law is to reach the most broad audience as possible and get it out there, I mean, it's more of a, pardon the pun, but it's more of a shotgun approach instead of a targeted approach. You just want to get as many people notified as you can. You can ask the same question. Of the current law, I don't get the projo, I don't get the call. That means I'm out of the loop on what goes on inside the community, so.
Although I think it's probably the case that most municipalities do put these notices up on their websites.
Yeah.
They have, but, so this just removes access to folks who only rely on newspapers for this information. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay, well, hearing none, I'll close the hearing on House Bill.
Well, I will make one point. It's not about removing access, it's about saving the cost.
Right.
It's just generally, I wouldn't call it an unfunded mandate, but it is a mandate that is onerous to the local communities when they can do it at a much more cost-effective way.
I think the test would be to follow up and see if that you are reaching, even if you take it out of the newspaper. That would be my concern on that, yeah.
Well, again, I can tell you, the call is not very well circulated within my community.
Do you have the Valley Breeze or anything up there?
But the call is the newspaper of, the Valley Breeze doesn't come through us either.
Oh, it doesn't?
Again, the call is the one that the town has chosen because it does have the largest circulation, but it's still, if I pulled their numbers, they've got a couple of boxes. I don't see call, I see more Providence Journal. I'll be honest, I see more Providence Journal boxes around than I see the call boxes, because they got the old-fashioned box to sit up in front of people's houses that they put them in, and the call's almost non-existent.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. Any other questions? Nope, hearing none then, I will close the hearing on House Bill 5323.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.